What's up, everybody? UFC 305 is right around the corner, and it is time for me to give my full prediction and breakdown for the main event headliner between Israel Adesanya and Dricus Du Plessis. Now, I got to be honest, I've been going back and forth on my thoughts the moment this matchup was announced. For the past few months, I've been kind of playing ping pong. I think Izzy gets it done. I think DDP gets it done. I finally have my mind made up and how I see this fight playing out, which we're going to discuss in this video. But first, I want to mention this is an unbelievable matchup. This is an unbelievable matchup. I know people want to talk about undeserved shot for Izzy. Look, you could say that Sean Strickland or Robert Whittaker could potentially slide in there and get a title shot. But look, man, the bad blood, the rivalry is there between these two. Izzy's one of the greatest middleweights we've ever had inside the UFC. And stylistically, even put the bad blood aside for a second. Stylistically, this is one of the most intriguing matchups in the entire UFC, but especially inside the middleweight division. I mean, when we talk about a fight here between DDP and Izzy, we're talking about DDP who has a little bit more of a gritty, reckless, well-rounded style, to where Izzy has that pretty point-fighting, precision type of style. And that's what makes this thing so interesting to me, because whenever we've seen Adesanya inside the UFC be able to kind of just keep you at bay on the outside and play that pick and poke type of game and allow, him to fight behind the jab, blast leg kicks at range, feint at you, and stick and move, it doesn't end very well for the opponent. But we have seen guys like a Kelvin Gastelum back in the day. We have seen a guy like Yoel Romero, where even though that was a boring fight, he made Izzy very cautious to where the fight was close the entire time. We've seen a guy like Jared Cannonier or Marvin Vettori press forward and cause Izzy a little bit of issues and not allow him to get going the way that we have seen Izzy get going against guys like an Alex Pineda, like a Paulo Costa. And then in the most recent outing of Izzy Adesanya, back almost a year to the date when this fight will take place, he basically kind of got shut down in a way by Sean Strickland. Now, I don't think that people are giving Sean Strickland the credit he deserves at times. People want to say fluke, they want to say this, they want to say that. Was Izzy maybe underestimating Sean Strickland a little bit? Sure. I think that that's pretty fair to say. However, it came to my realization, the more studying and film that I watch, I think that Sean Strickland's style just gives these pretty strikers problems. He stands up very high in almost a Muay Thai-like stance. He's very square. He basically just walks forward in that Philly shell, and he turns things into a boxing match. He takes away the leg kicks. He checks kicks very well. He pushes the pace. He moves forward. He condenses you and makes you fight inside of a box. And that is a nightmare if you're Israel Adesanya, because if we're going to point out one of the weaknesses in the striking of Izzy, where is it? It's the boxing. And coming into a fight with Dricus Du Plessis, I don't think DDP has outstanding boxing. I think that overall he's a pretty good striker, but I don't think that he is as good of a boxer as some of the guys that Izzy has fought in the past. However, the well-roundedness and the relentlessness of Dricus Du Plessis is going to pose a world of problems for Israel Adesanya, but Israel Adesanya, I've been saying on my channel for a very long time. Stylistically, he's one of my favorite fighters to watch. I love watching Israel Adesanya fight. I think that what he does is absolutely masterful in there. I don't think he gets the credit he deserves at times. He's not my favorite personality, right? I've been watching the guy. He's, fought in King of the Ring, Glory Kickboxing. I've been watching Izzy for a very long time, man. His personality, maybe not my favorite, a little bit more on the cringe side. The one thing I pride myself on my channel, I'm going to call it what it is, and that is that Israel Adesanya is an outstanding fighter. He has very high fight IQ, and he plays off of these themes. And I think coming into this fight where he's not defending a title, to where I've always said I think that he kind of lives up to the idea of defending a title. He's like, okay, look, I got a jab and leg kick. I just got to defend the title, to where now he's chasing the title again. He's chasing the belt. And I think a guy like Izzy, who plays off of themes, has this built up in his mind that I'm coming after this guy. I'm coming for him. I'm going to take that belt off of him. And what we have seen from Israel Adesanya in the past is when he is a contender, he's more dangerous than any other time. When he holds the belt, like I said, he kind of defends the belt. When he's coming after the title, he's coming after the title. And I think that in this fight, Israel Adesanya is going to get this done. Now, my question that I have in this is, do I think that Adesanya is going to be able to finish Dricus Du Plessis? I don't think it's impossible. I think that he can, but I'm going to go by decision. I think that Dricus Du Plessis, as good as he is and as much as he has improved, and I think that when you win a title, your confidence builds. I think that all of the things that Dricus has done to get him to this point, they have worked against guys that are not they're not precise. They are not precision-based fighters. And I think that this is going to be the first time that Dricus Du Plessis is facing somebody that is incredibly well-rounded. I know that Izzy doesn't have the most outstanding ground game offensively, but defensively, the guy is very hard to get a hold of. He has very, very good footwork. He's very rangy. He's fast. It's almost like if you take a cat inside the cage and you just like let it out, and now you have someone go in there and you try to get it, and you're like in a room trying to like chase the cat. That's what this is. And I think that Dricus Du Plessis is going to have a very, very hard time getting a hold of Izzy. And I just think that the way that DDP fights, it's chaotic, it's reckless, it's not pretty in my eyes, right? It's kind of all over the place. He's kind of lunging and throwing a lot of these shots. He's kicking your legs, he's mixing in takedowns, he's throwing these looping shots, switching stances, which is all very dangerous because the guy's big, he's strong, he's powerful, he has outstanding cardio. I don't think he gets the credit he deserves at times for the great cardio that he has, especially since he got the nose fixed, because that is a big piece to be able to breathe out of your nose, for God's sake. I just think he leaves way, way, way too many holes for a precision striker like Izzy. He leaves way too many holes for a precision striker like Izzy. Now, look, I know people are going to say, well, he was getting, Alex Pineda was having really good moments against him in the striking. That's Alex Pineda. That's Alex Pineda. I mean, look what the guy's been doing at light heavyweight. He's one of the best strikers inside the UFC, one of the best strikers that we've ever seen inside the UFC. And Izzy goes in there and stands basically toe-to-toe with him the entire time. And credit to Izzy. In the first MMA fight, he's outstriking Poatan. In the second fight, it was very close. I thought Poatan was landing some good leg kicks that were maybe giving him the edge there. But you saw the IQ of Izzy, recognizing that Poatan drops his hands, kind of lets go, baited him in, threw a nasty shot. And I just think the IQ, the footwork, the timing, the speed, all of those different things is what is going to help Izzy win this fight. Now, like I said, Dricus Du Plessis is incredibly dangerous. He's incredibly tough. He's incredibly durable. And the one thing about DDP is that first round, that's the opportunity for Izzy to hop on him. That's the time for Izzy and his team to hop right on DDP, because one of the issues that DDP has, or not one of the issues, but that Izzy can take advantage of, Dricus Du Plessis doesn't give you the first round, but he is the most cautious inside the first round. That's the most cautious you'll find him in a 5-round fight. You will find Dricus Du Plessis in the first round being willing to take a backward step, being okay moving laterally side to side and moving backwards and not having to push forward the entire time. We saw this against Robert Whittaker. We saw this against Sean Strickland, where he's very patient in the first round, and we saw Strickland have a great first round. We saw Whittaker have a great first round. But then after that first round, it comes back to the stool, and it's like his team's like, okay, here's what we need to do, here's what we need to do. And they come out and execute the game plan damn near to perfection. We saw him finish Whittaker in the second round. We saw him pick up the pace on Strickland and start to have a lot more success. And that is where things are going to get very interesting, because I do think that Izzy's team is going to recognize, look, the time to take advantage of this guy and set the tone is in the first round. Get Dricus Du Plessis doubting himself. And how do we do that? We have to come into this thing physically ready to go. And I think Israel Adesanya has done that. I just was watching recently on his YouTube channel a video that he put out showing his training camp. This is one of the biggest and strongest versions of Israel Adesanya that we have seen coming into this fight. I thought it was a massive mistake when he moved up to light heavyweight to take on Jan Blachowicz to not try to bulk up properly for that fight. We saw Max Holloway bulk up, go up a weight class. He did it correctly, and how well he did moving up a weight class, to where if it was just striking, I understand not really wanting to add on a ton of size. But considering this is MMA, there's grappling, it's very important that Adesanya is taking that seriously. And I know he's not going up a weight class. He's still at 185. That extra strength that I believe he has added is going to help him fight off the takedowns of DDP, because if there's an area where I see a significant advantage for DDP, it's the grappling. It's the grappling, but I think that people underestimate the defensive grappling of Izzy. He's been working with Craig Jones. We saw how much Jones was able to help Alexander Volkanovski. I think Izzy has been working on these things for an extended period of time. I think that the range, the footwork, the speed, and the timing of Israel Adesanya is going to be a problem for Dricus. Now, like I said, DDP is very tough, so I don't know that Izzy's going to be able to get him out of there. But I can see this fight kind of looking like a Kelvin Gastelum-esque type of fight, where DDP's landing some good shots. He's trying to mix mixing the takedowns. Izzy's fending him off, getting back to space, landing good shots to where he is outpointing DDP, battering the legs of DDP, and scoring with that jab. And I just see this being an absolute, I see this being a classic. I think that this is going to be an outstanding fight. And there's a lot riding on this, right? Izzy's coming off of a loss. He's getting up there in age. There's a lot of people questioning, is this the end of Izzy if he loses this fight? Either way, I don't think it is, but I think that Israel Adesanya, the time away, you got to remember, he was one of the most active champions we've ever had, constantly taking fights, fighting, 3 times a year, basically? I mean, he was so active as a champion, even back to when he was fighting in kickboxing. He was fighting all the time, and this was the first time that he had, in my opinion, a real beneficial break to where mentally and physically he could recover, get himself together, and work on some of the holes in the game of Israel Adesanya, because even though he does have pretty good hands, the boxing was always a weakness in my eyes. I think that he's going to come out very improved in terms of the boxing. I think that he's going to take advantage of some of the flaws in the striking of Dricus Du Plessis. I think that he's going to have an answer for the takedowns. He's going to get back to range. He's going to make it very difficult for DDP to get a hold of him. I think Israel Adesanya's precision and speed is going to be on full display at UFC 305 against Dricus Du Plessis. That's why I am riding with the last style bender in this matchup. But I want to hear from you all down in the comments. Like this video. Comment your prediction below. Do you think DDP gets it done? Or do you agree with me and think that Izzy gets it done? Subscribe to the channel. Help me out. I would appreciate it. See you next time.